Hello and welcome back. This is Tory, head of software development and one of the project managers here at SciDev. And we're starting to use a lot of new tools. And I really want to stop for a second, slow down, take a step back. And we're doing a lot of stuff with the terminal or the command line, and we really haven't gotten into what the command line or the terminal really is. So if you are using a Mac, terminal is already pre-installed on your system if you're using later version, and all you do here to reach it is you just type terminal here, and voila, it logs you in to the terminal, and it says, hey, this is your machine and this is the user, that this is the place that you are in the systems in the system. Okay, so let's get started. A very simple command is a command that's ls, and that means list. It means list all the files in this directory. And all a directory is a folder. So a folder and a directory are essentially the same thing. It's just a place to store stuff, a place to store applications, a place to store downloads, music, sites, pictures, public, meetup, movies, documents, just a place to store stuff. Now, to move from one directory to another one, you type a command called cd, which stands for change directory, and we're going to go into the we're going to do some stuff here. We're going to go into the downloads directory. Now I'm in the downloads directory. So as you can see here, it says, hey, you're in the downloads directory for this particular user, SciDev. So as I move forward in directories, it basically is going to allow me to know what directory I'm in. Vice versa, if I want to go backwards, I just type the command cd, type in ... and now as you can see here, the downloads goes away, and I'm still in the root directory for this user. Okay. So I'm just going to change directory back and go back into downloads, and I'm going to do an ls. And there's only one piece of software in this particular directory, and that's the SQL Pro that I've downloaded from the internet. So let's just do some basic stuff here. I want to remove this SQL Pro. I've used it, I'm done with it. So I'm going to type a command rm-r, and then I'm going to type the name of the program I want to remove, SQL Pro. Press return, type ls, and it is gone. So I've just gotten rid of that directory. And that's how you remove or delete things from your directory. You just type the command rm, pass in the option -r, and -r just means recursive. So it means remove that particular file and everything contained within it. So I really probably didn't have to type the -r. I'm just so used to it. I most likely could have just typed in rm and then the name of the file, and it would have been gone. But anyway, let's make a directory. So I'm going to type in mkdir, and I'm typing the command make directory, and I want to call it test. And I do an ls, and voila, I have a directory called test. So now I can cd into test, and all I have to do is type the first couple of characters, press the tab button, and it will complete it for me. So as you can see here, it says, hey, this is SciDev user, and he is in the test directory. So now I can do an ls. I don't have anything in here, so I can make another directory by typing in mkdir, and I can type another name, another test. And now I have another directory called another test. And so now I can change directory into another test. So right now we're just going to master navigation. So I've just moved into this this particular directory. So if I want to go backwards, I just type cd ... That takes me back one directory. I can put a backslash in here and type in another two ... That would take me back two directories. So now I do an ls, and now I'm back into the downloads. I'm now back into the downloads directory. So I moved all the way from another test that was inside of test back into the downloads directory. So I moved back two directories. So I can cd test, and then I can go into another test, type ls. Now I'm in the another test directory, which you can see right here. I'm in the another test directory. Likewise, if you're using a Mac, if I want to remove all the previous history, I can type Command K, and that moves me back to the top. It clears out all the other commands, moves me back to the top. I just typed Command K. Okay. I can also type a command called history, and I can see all of the commands that I've run just by typing the history command. If I want to do one of the commands, like if I want to do this ls command, I can either type ls, or I can just do bang 500, and it will do the ls command for me. That is a huge tip as you start to do more and more commands, and you want to you don't want to retype the entire thing. So like if I don't want to retype this command 519, I can just do bang 519, and it will attempt to do that. Likewise, if I want to do bang 521 to take a look at my history, voila, I just typed bang 521, and it ran the history command for me without having to type history. So we're just taking care of simple navigation here. So I'm just going to do another ls to see where I'm at. I'm going to type Command K to clear out my screen, and I want to do cd, and I'm going to do this. I guess this is sort of a tilde sort of sign, and what that does, that takes me to the root directory for that user. If I do cd backslash, that takes me to the root directory for my system. So cd backslash is system, cd with this tilde takes you to the root directory for that user. So I'm just going to go back to the user, and now what I want to do is I want to go back to my downloads directory, and I want to go into my test directory, and I want to go into another test. So I want to change directory. I want to move into all those directories. Now I can move into the file individually, or I can move in all at once by just sort of adding another backslash and beginning to type, and then using the tab button to autocomplete. So now I want to come into this directory. I'm going to do an ls, and now I'm in this directory, and I want to type in the command touch, and I'm going to call this test.txt, and I want to do an ls. And now I've created a test file that's a text file. And what I want to do now is I want to open up, so I'm going to type the command open test.txt, and my text editor opens up. So now I have this text edit software, hello world. And now I just want to save that and close. So now if I come here, I have the test.txt file. I'm going to type a command cat test.txt, and what this cat command does is it lets me know what is in that file, and as you can see here, it printed out hello world. That is the text that is contained inside of the test.txt directory. And so I'm just reading out some commands here from this particular website, 10 essential Unix commands. So we covered ls, we covered cd, we've covered make directory. Okay, let's do remove directory. So I have my file here. Before I do that, a command that's further down here is more, and I've never really used that particular command before, but let's just do more and then test.txt. And what that does is another command to let you know, reads one page at a time, what is in that file. So the only text that's in this test.txt directory is the hello world. Now there are other things that I can do. I can open up the file. I can add text. I can then save it. I can do a whole bunch of other things, but we're not going to get into that just yet. So now, previously, I did an rm-r. Now I'm just going to do an rm test.txt. Type ls. Now my test.txt script is gone. I've just deleted it. I'm going to do cd ... do an ls, and now what I want to do is I want to rmdir. I want to remove the directory another test. I've typed that command. I've done an ls. That directory another test is gone. I'm going to cd ... do an ls. I have my test directory. I'm going to remove this directory as well. Do an ls, and it's gone. Okay, so far, as you look here at this list, we've done an ls, we've done a cd, we made a directory, we removed a directory, we used the rm command, we used the more command, and the two things that we haven't done is we haven't copied and we haven't moved. So let's do that. Let's copy and move. So a copy is just copying a file and moving it to another place. To move a file is just taking that actual file and putting it somewhere else. Okay, that is a distinction between the two. So as you can see, I'm in my downloads directory, which is right here. It says I'm in downloads, and what I want to do is I want to make another directory. So I want to do mkdir, and we're going to call this tutorial_test. Now we're going to do an ls, and there's the tutorial_test directory. So I want to cd, I want to move into that directory, or change directory into the tutorial test directory, and I want to do an ls. Now I'm inside the tutorial test directory. Okay, now we're going to get ready to do some work. I'm going to press Command K to clean out my screen. I'm still in that directory. All I've done is I've just gotten rid of all of those commands and stuff, all that history that we don't need to see. Okay, so now I want to type in touch, and touch is going to allow me to create a file, and we're going to call this tutorial.txt. So now I've created this file, ls tutorial.txt. So I want to add some text into it. Now there's an easy way I can do it, and there are other ways that we can do it. So for more advanced tutorials, we'll do it through the command line. But for this basic introductory tutorial, I'm just going to open up the tutorial.txt directory, and I'm just going to add some text to it. Okay. So I just want to open tutorial.txt. Now keep in mind, everything that I'm doing here, because I'm using a Mac, I can do using the Finder. So I have my Finder window, I have my downloads directory, I have tutorial test, and if I want to open it up, I just double click and it's open. So the command line is just a way of navigating and moving around without using the Finder window. I can easily use the Finder window. Now, when you're doing work on a server, a tool like Finder might not necessarily be available to you, or you'll find that this way is easier and faster, so you just rather do it this way. But the command line is essential if you're going to be doing any work on the server or some functions on your computer. You just have more tools available for you, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to open tutorial.txt, and I'm going to say hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. Okay, and I'm just going to file, and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to close it. That's all I'm going to do. So if I want to see what's in it, I type in my more command here. Hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. Bam, allows me to see the text that's behind it. Okay. So now we want to do copy and move. Those are the two commands that we really want to mess around with. So I want to type in cp tutorial.txt. And then once I copy it, I have to tell the computer where I want it to go. Okay, where do I want it to go? Where is this tutorial.txt file going to go? And so I'm typing a backslash. Let me see if I can do this. Or I could just, let me see here. Okay, so I want to put this file, I'm trying to figure out where it has me going here. So in the system, I want to, okay, just messing around here a little bit to try to see if it will take me to the users directory, but it's not. It's taking me, let me stop for a second. There's a command here called pwd. It's not included in the tutorial at the website, but it's a very important command. And what this directory tells me is what is my present working directory. Okay, so I just typed in pwd, and so I'm in users downloads, users scidev downloads tutorial test. That is the directory that I'm in. So I want to copy that. Now what I want to do is I want to copy, do an actual cp command, tutorial.txt, and now I'm just going to paste in there, and I want to put this not necessarily in the downloads directory, but I want to put this in the desktop. So I'm copying tutorial.txt, and I'm going to put it in users scidev desktop. I'm going to press return, and I'm going to do an ls. And as you can see here in the tutorial test directory, tutorial.txt still appears. I do more, tutorial.txt, hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. It's in the same location, has not moved. All I've done was copy it. Now, likewise, if I do a cd, change directory, and I want to go to users scidev desktop or desktop, I do an ls, and there is another copy of tutorial.txt, and I do more, tutorial.txt, and bam, hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. All I've done is I've just copied the file from my tutorial test directory under download scidev users, and I've just put it here in my users scidev desktop directory. All I've done was move it or copy it and move it to another place. So if I go to my Finder window and I go to my desktop, there you have tutorial.txt. Hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. If I go to downloads, tutorial test, tutorial, hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. All I've done was copy it. Okay, that's what CP does for you. Copy. So now I have got my copy here in my desktop. I want to remove tutorial.txt from there, and it's gone. So I've just done the rm command and the name of the file. That's all I've done. So now I want to cd ... go back here to my root directory for my user. I want to cd into my downloads, and I have my tutorial test. I'm going to cd into tutorial test, and there is tutorial.txt. So now what I want to do is I want to move it. I want to move it from tutorial. I want to move tutorial.txt, and I want to put it somewhere else. So I'm going to go to users scidev, and I want to move it to music. Okay, let's just move it to music. So users scidev music. Bam. Do an ls. In tutorial test, it is gone. No file exists. All I've done was move it. Where did I move it to? I moved it to users scidev music. Okay, so now I'm just going to copy that text right there, and I'm going to cd, change directory into users scidev music, do an ls, and there is my tutorial.txt file. I type in the more command, tutorial.txt, hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. Very simple stuff. So let's stop for a second. I'm going to grab my Finder window, new Finder window. I go into music directory. Voila, tutorial.txt. It's the same. I go here back to my downloads directory, go to another test, and it is empty. Nothing is in there. Why? Because I moved it. Let's move it back. So I'm here in my music directory. I'm going to move tutorial.txt. I'm going to put it in users, SciDev. I believe I had it in downloads, had it in another test. Oh, tutorial test. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move tutorial.txt. I'm going to put it in users, SciDev, downloads, tutorial test. Return. I do an ls on my music directory. I have nothing. I'm going to use Finder. And as you can see here, I go to downloads, tutorial test, and there is my tutorial.txt file. Hello world, let's learn Unix and Linux. I'm going to type the history command. Okay, lowercase h. So in this tutorial, we have used several commands. Okay, we used make directory. We used the ls command. We used cd to change directory. We typed the history command to see what history we've used. We've cd'd to the root for the user. We've cd'd to the root directory on the system. We used the touch command to create a file. We used the open command to open up a file. We used the more command to read text from the file. We used rm to remove an actual file. We used remove directory to remove an entire directory or entire folder. And of course we made a directory. We then copied, we used the present working directory, PWD, to see where in the system's navigation are we, what is our current place. We used copy to copy a file from one place to another, and we used the move command to move a file from one place to another without creating a copy. This is an introductory tutorial just on basic navigation, basic things that we can do in Unix and Linux using the command line tool on our Mac, and I hope this was helpful to you. Of course, as we produce and create more videos, I welcome each and every one of you to follow us on Twitter, become our friend on Facebook, so that you can have the latest information from SciDev and just join our network. If you have computer IT related needs or projects, please feel free to reach out to us. We're more than willing to help, and we would love to partner with you and help your business grow. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. So hey, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait for our next video. Have a great day.